Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NCAAF matches that is happening on Friday, September 23rd, 2023. We will be providing our team, total, and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comment section below. SMU versus TCU. Take TCU minus 6.5 points. On the other side of the field of SMU will be the interstate rival TCU Horned Frogs, who have followed up a national championship game appearance with an odd start to the 2023 season as they went down to the hyped Colorado Buffaloes before back-to-back wins in impressive fashion against Nicholls and Houston, allowing just 19 points over those 2 weeks. In their past 10 games, the Horned Frogs have gone a dominant 7-3, while being 9-2 in their past 11 games played at home and 12-2 in their past 14 games played following a win, and with their defense now matching their explosive offense, plus 56-point differential over their past 2 games. It's becoming clear that their poor start to the season against Colorado was just a minor setback as they look to get back into the college football rankings. In recent years, both of these teams have enjoyed success, with TCU experiencing significant achievements last season. However, in 2023, both teams have started with a 2-1 record, marked by 2 convincing wins each. This sets the stage for what should be a highly competitive and closely contested matchup. Looking at their last 10 head-to-head meetings, the Horned Frogs have largely dominated this All-Texas matchup, boasting an 8-2 record. While the Mustangs managed to secure 2 wins in the past 3 years, TCU responded with a dominant victory in the previous season. It's worth noting that neither team has been flawless in the first 3 weeks of the season, each having suffered a loss alongside their 2 dominant wins. However, considering TCU's offensive consistency, they appear to be the team to beat in this upcoming game. Also keep it simple, take the over. The SMU Mustangs have been one of college football's most underrated teams over the past few years, but after all of their top names have moved onto the NFL, they're now trying to forge a new identity, and they've done so by posting a 6-4 record over their past 10 games. Their 2023 season thus far has been an up-and-down one, as they sandwiched a loss to the number 18 ranked Oklahoma Sooners with 2 dominant victories over Louisiana Tech, 38-14, and Prairie View, 69-0, a week ago. However, they've struggled for momentum away from home, as the Mustangs have posted a 2-3 record in their past 5 games on the road while being 2-4 in their past 6 games played against the Big 12, and now they face another major test against TCU, with the opportunity to prove they can be among the best teams in college football. In 2023, these teams have both shown elite flashes offensively and defensively, but in their past 10 head-to-head meetings, the over sits at 7-3, with their past 3 meetings in 2022, 2021, and 2019, all going well over the 70 mark. For the Mustangs, the over sits at 4-6 in their past 10 games, but after posting 38 in their season-opening win and 69 against Prairie View a week ago, it's clear that it's going to take an elite defensive performance to stop this red-hot offense. On the Horned Frog side, the over also sits at 4-6, but over their 3 games in 2023, the team has notched 39 points per game, and even with the defense holding their past 2 opponents to 6 and 13 points, SMU will be a major test, so expect this one to be a big shootout for 2 talented units. Tulsa versus Northern Illinois. Take Tulsa at plus 3.5 points. While they held the Sooners to 119 rushing yards, averaging 4.3 yards per carry, they were lit up in the air, giving up 476 passing yards and 5 passing TD. They had 292 total yards and only rushed for 75 yards, and it did not help they turned the ball over 5 times. Cardell Williams passed for 196 yards with 2 TDs, but was also picked off twice, and 3 players had at least 52 receiving yards. Bill Jackson led the Golden Hurricane with 40 rushing yards, but as a team, they only averaged 1.6 yards per rush. Tulsa failed to cover the spread as a 28-point underdog. Williams, 494 yards, 5 TD, 3 INT, has been sacked 6 times in 3 games, and the line needs to give him time. Jordan Ford and Anthony Watkins are the 2 leading rushers for Tulsa and only combined for 42 rushing yards in the loss to OU. Tulsa is 0-1-2 ATS on the season, and last season they were 2-4 AT South on the road. This is the last game of the non-conference season for Tulsa, as they host Temple next week in their AAC opener. Tulsa has been beaten badly in their last 2 games, but they came against ranked teams. Northern Illinois has also lost 2 in a row, and in their last game they lost to Nebraska, who picked up their first win of the season. Tulsa will look to run the ball early and often in this game, and I think they will be successful. The Huskies have issues against the run, and that will hurt. NIU does not have a great offense, and while the pass defense is there, it will not be enough. The Golden Hurricane will have a good game on the ground, and they will, at least, cover the spread in this non-conference affair. Also take the under 53.5 points. In their last game, Northern Illinois was on the road losing to Nebraska 35-11, and they lost the previous game only scoring 11 points. They were outgained 382 yards to 149 yards, gave up 224 rushing yards, and only rushed for 26 yards. Rocky Lombardi got the start but was only November 28th for 73 yards with no TD and an INT, and Ethan Hampton came in and passed for 50 yards and a TD and no picks. NIU averaged a paltry 1.2 yards per carry, and Davis Patterson led the team with only 30 receiving yards. The Huskies failed to cover the spread as a 12-point underdog. Lombardi has been the starter but has 4 INTs in the last 2 games, and Hampton may get the nod. The run game is the big issue in this game, as NIU only ranks 117th in the nation in rushing yards per game and ranks 91st in rushing yards allowed. The Huskies have a decent pass defense, but their run D has to step up in this game, with Tulsa averaging 167.7 rushing yards per game. Northern Illinois has failed to cover the spread in their last 5 games when they were favored. On the other side of the coin, Tulsa has covered the spread in 6 of their last 10 road games. I am leaning towards the under in this game, and with good reason. Northern Illinois does not have a great offense, and they have scored 11 points in each of the last 2 games. Tulsa has only totaled 27 points in their last 2 games, and while their run game will be legit in this game, they will not put up too many points. Northern Illinois and their less than dynamic offense will also struggle to put points on the board. This game will be far from a barn burner, which is why the under is the way to go. Western Kentucky versus Troy. Go with the Troy Trojans to win by more than a field goal at home. The Troy Trojans offense needs to do better, as they are currently averaging 25 points on 382.3 total yards per game. They have been getting excellent play out of senior quarterback Gunnar Watson, as he is 56 of 100, 56.0 completion percentage for 697 yards with 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. It helps to have a receiver like Junior Jabra Barber, as he has 11 catches for 156 yards, 14.2 yards per reception, with 2 touchdowns. They need to connect more often for the offense to click. The defense of the Troy Trojans has struggled a bit, as they are giving up 29.3 points on 309 total yards per game. They fixed some issues last week against James Madison, as they allowed 16 points on 290 total yards. The defense gave up 13 total first downs and just 2.6 rushing yards per attempt. They ended to continue that level of defense to be a threat. Troy's defense has shown to be better suited and has a lot of momentum to go off of, while Western Kentucky just allowed 63 points last week. Troy's defense is allowing 181 total yards per game less than Western Kentucky, and they can force the punt team on the field, which is more than we can see about the Hilltoppers. The Western Kentucky offense has 3 players on the injury report, and that will make Reed's life difficult if they are all unable to play. Also, the over has hit in 3 of the previous 4 Western Kentucky games, so go with over 59 points in this matchup. The offense of the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers has been doing well, as they are averaging 34.3 points on 394 total yards per game. The team is led by senior quarterback Austin Reed, and he is doing very well as he is 77 of 120, 64.2 completion percentage, for 796 yards with 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. He also has 14 rushes for 56 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. They need to incorporate more of a running game to be a strong team going forward. The Western Kentucky defense has struggled as they are giving up 36.3 points on 490 total yards per game. They were dominated last week by Ohio State as they allowed 63 points on 562 total yards. The Buckeyes were able to run for 6.2 yards per attempt and 13.3 yards per pass. The defense was able to force a pair of turnovers, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, to get things going as well. If they can improve defensively, they can be a solid team going forward. These teams are running the ball effectively throughout the season, as Western Kentucky is averaging 4 yards per rush this season, while Troy is averaging 4.5 yards per carry thus far. Despite there being rain in the forecast, that does not scare me off this pick, as these offenses should be able to depend on their quarterbacks to get drives going and put up points as a result.